In part 1 of this pickups extravaganza, you saw me stoop pretty low in terms of what I'm willing to buy to add to my collection. You saw a few shovelware titles, and most of it was just really cheap stuff bought in a big amount. But even though it's fun to bulk up your collection and maybe discover some new games, sometimes you get the feeling that you really want to get that thing that you've been after for a while or complete a series. That's the kind of mood I've been in from around Christmas until now, so here are all the pickups for that period. I have an American version of Dot Hack Infection, which is the first of a quadrilogy of JRPGs on the PS2, and for ages it kind of just stuck out in my collection because it was sort of a rare game, but I didn't have any of the others and had never played them. But I am a massive fan of JRPGs, so I got the feeling that if I played Infection, I might want to play the other ones as well. So I jumped at the chance when a collector posted all 4 games, the PAL versions, for a really reasonable price. This guy was a collector himself, so he seemed really happy that these games were going to a fellow collector, but also someone who might appreciate the games themselves. It's really satisfying to see all 4 of these together on the shelf now as a complete set, and this may actually be a theme for this episode, so keep watching. Twin Caliber is a game that I've been after for quite a while. I really like this game. It's an interesting take on the twin stick shooter, where each analog stick controls one gun in each hand. It's the kind of game that is so addictive that I've actually finished it twice in one sitting each time. I picked up the original Command & Conquer on the PS1 at a charity shop, and as I've mentioned before, Red Alert Retaliation, I spent hours and hours playing that game. It's not yet in the collection because I had a pirated copy back in the day, but now I've got Red Alert and Command & Conquer, so I really want to finish off the trio there. Some more PS1 games from the charity shop, not nearly as interesting, but still pretty cool. Soviet Strike, Quake 2, International Superstar Soccer Pro, and a very different kind of superstar, Superstar Dance Club #1 Hits. This is another dance mat compatible rhythm game, so always good to have them in the collection now I've got myself a dance mat. As a huge PlayStation fan, I just had to have this comic, which is a hardback comic from the official creators of the original Medieval, and it's, as it says, the official prequel to Medieval. And this comic is so stylish and colourful that I wouldn't be surprised if some people's eyes popped out of their disembodied head. It's a bit late, but I guess we better do some Christmas presents now. My little sister got me a Crash Bandicoot mug, which is really cool. So cool in fact that I don't really want to drink out of it, I'd rather just have it up on the shelf here. Another game that I had a pirate copy of as a kid is Ghost in the Shell on the PS1, and so this year I asked Santa for Ghost in the Shell. He didn't get me the pirate version, he got me the Japanese version. I believe that this is actually probably one of the most innovative shooters of all time really. Just the fact that you can climb on any wall, you can go upside down, there's a variety of weapons to use. And of course the iconic Ghost in the Shell style and voice acting is all present here too. Coincidentally, I also found the original Ghost in the Shell manga at a charity shop, which I think is a pretty amazing find really. This is mostly black and white but has a few colour pages, and of course Masamune Shirow is an amazing artist, so it's a really good book to have. Santa also brought me Suikoden 2, and I guess Santa's a bit of a cheapskate because he got me the far cheaper Japanese version. Suikoden is a series that I would love to have the complete set of, and it's also a series that I'd love to cover on this channel as well. So this can go on the shelf next to the original Suikoden now. Similarly, something that I do love to cover on this channel is old From Software games, so what better game to get than the first ever From Software game, King's Field. And this was a Japan only game, because when we eventually got King's Field over here, that was actually King's Field 2 in Japan. And if you're a fan of Dark Souls, you may know that this is probably the precursor to Dark Souls, although I think it actually plays pretty differently. Also on the PS1, I found for very cheap, I just had to get them, King's Field 2 and 3. These are all the Japanese versions, and again, it's just so satisfying to see these three side by side here on the shelf. And to finish off the Christmas presents now, I have 3 more PS1 games, starting with Croc 2, which I believe is the better of the 2 Croc games on the PS1. Jumping Flash, which I recently covered in a PS1 demo video. That's the Japanese version of that. And another huge money saver, the Japanese version of Clock Tower 2. And this is another series that I'd definitely love to complete. Next is a beautiful book that my girlfriend picked up at a charity shop, just randomly off the cuff, really cheap. And it's inside Game of Thrones Season 3 and 4. It has this really nice faux leather cover, and it's full of just gorgeous images from the show. And it's packed with juicy tidbits on everything from Game of Thrones lore to how they shot scenes and producer interviews and things like that. 2 more Japanese PS1 games now, Overblood 1 and 2, which I'm surprised I've never played these. These seem right up my street and like something I should have played back in the pirating days. And I got the Japanese versions of these simply because I much preferred the front covers to the Western version. This PC version of Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow really caught my eye in a charity shop. I really love the inside sleeves here for the discs that are just completely black, and they say Embrace the Dark on them. I almost didn't get this actually because it's a card box, and there was a horrible sticker on it, which I did manage to get off with a bit of water, but there's still a slight mark on there unfortunately. Okay, I'm just going to reel off the rest of these really cheap charity shop finds before I get to the final item, which other than Catherine is the only new game I think I've shown in this 2-part video. Robot Warlords, The Mouse Police, another Phoenix game. Eragon, this was kindly donated by my friend Darren. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Digimon Rumble Arena. FIFA 14 Steelbook with a fancy holographic magnet thing. G1 Jockey. Rogue Ops. Another Phoenix game, Myth Makers Orbs of Doom. I'm not sure which animation this one's ripping off. Lair on the PS3. And Wonderbook Book of Spells, which I don't actually have a PlayStation Move, and I'm not sure I want one to be honest. And now the final pickup is a PS4 game. It's 3 of the best games of all time in one package. It's the Yakuza Remastered Collection with Yakuza 3, 4 and 5. And that means that considering Yakuza 1 and 2 have had PS4 remakes, that the full mainline Yakuza series is now available physically on PS4. And I personally am so glad that Sega brought this out because, as you may know, Yakuza 5 is my favourite in the series and they never did a physical release of it. So not only do you get the PS3 box for Yakuza 5 in case you wanted that on your shelf, but there's also this gorgeous fold-out box with all the tattoo style artwork in it. Yakuza 3 is actually where I started with this series, and it has become my favourite series of all time. So I'd say even though this is a brand new game, which as you can probably tell I don't often buy, this is probably the best pickup of them all. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed seeing what I've added to the collection in the past few months. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Jake of The Retro Perspective, and I'll see you next time.